stop and see you here. I remember this was
From now on. Yes.
be blinded by the lights. Watch me.
Hey, everybody, we're back. It's Let's Talk Phys Ed. We're here. It's season 2, episode 4 of Let's Talk Phys Ed. I'm your host, Jason Steele. With me, as always, my wonderful co-host, Tanner Roast. Tanner, how are you today?
Oh, man, I am doing good. Hey, guess what? Our buddy Brian DeVore here, he's got a picture up. He's been wearing that I Tweet PE shirt. You see that on Twitter this week?
That's fantastic.
Yeah, it's awesome. I love that. If you guys want to support IP or I Tweet PE, go to itweetpe.org. You can purchase a shirt, and all the proceeds go directly back into phys ed programs that have been affected by tragedy or disaster or some type of unfortunate event.
Fantastic. Awesome. And actually, Brian was lucky in that one. I was able to hand deliver that one to him when he made an appearance at the ND Shape conference just last week. Now, Brian, just like our guest this evening, is an open national trainer. So that's 2 open national trainers in a row. Not on purpose, honestly, but fantastic that we can have these guys join us. With us tonight, open national trainer, Brandon Herwick. Brandon, I got 2 real quick things for you. Number 1, how are you today? And number 2, tell us a little bit about yourself after that.
I am fabulous, and I would be remiss if I didn't thank you both for having me. And to echo the words of Jim DeLine from one of the previous episodes, appreciate all you're doing and love the enthusiasm on and off social media. I'm fantastic. I started my undergrad at Hudson Valley Community College with the great Tommy Rogan, and then went to SUNY Cortland, the State University of New York at Cortland. Then they asked me if I wanted to do an interview in Brooklyn. I did. I did a demo lesson, which is where I met Mike Martinez. I taught 4 years in Brooklyn. I did my student teaching before Brooklyn at Albertus W. Becker School, which is where I am now after 4 years in Brooklyn. This will be my 5th year upstate New York at A.W. Becker.
Nice.
Awesome. Fantastic. Now, we're going to jump right into the questions. Obviously, we had to start it off. Question number 1 tonight. You came up huge just for me personally. The Twitter world is so fantastic, and the connections that you can make on there. I put out a little tweet to you one day. You had made a dance video, and that week I was working on a chopsticks activity where you pick up birdies with noodles, and I thought, you know what, I'd love to have a dance to go with this. So I tweeted to you to make me a you're the best Twitter video or dance video.
Yeah.
And I thought, no way, number 1, that he'll ever do it. Number 2, if he does do it, I'll never, it'll take so long to get it.
Yeah.
Literally the next morning, we were doing that dance in my school, and the kids loved it. So obviously,
awesome.
Number 1, thank you for that.
Yeah.
And then can you talk about kind of how that came about, like how you decided, you know what, I'm gonna do this right now?
Yeah. So I'm not like a classically trained dancer. I didn't, I know some classical terms like session and assemblée, and, I can fake some of it. But I took a Zumba class when I was in Brooklyn, and the Zumba class was actually really fantastic to talk about phrasing and talk about counts. So basically, when you threw that challenge out, I brought that out, and I was like, I got to do this. And if I don't do it now, it's one of those projects that in months I'm going to go, oh, yeah, I'm getting around to it. So I just took the song, I marked it out. I go, these 4 counts, this 8 counts, this 16 counts. We're going to do this for 32. And then, my school was closed, so I drove over to the CrossFit gym where I do a CrossFit Teens and CrossFit Kids program, which was a perfect background because it had like the steel door behind it, Yeah. And we did it, and that really is the incredible thing. I also, and I'm sure we'll talk about it, but I got to help write the K through 2 and 3 through 5 dance curriculum for Open, and we're working on the middle school and high school. and part of that is Aaron Hart saying, hey, you like to dance. Why don't you work on this project? And then me like having to pull, we got Dr. Teresa Cohn, who used to work for her own university. And then we got Shannon Molly, who's working on the middle school. We got all these people, Scott Williams pulled out. And it's just, all of these people came together, and just by saying, hey, can you work on this? Or, hey, can you go do this project? You kind of live up to the challenge. So, yeah, that was fun. And I got to thank you for a lot of new followers on YouTube and Twitter.
I've given 3 Twitter presentations, and I always started off with that just to show the power.
Awesome.
And I always kind of warn you ahead of time, hey, you're going to get a bunch of new followers here. So
yeah, it's cool to connect with new people.
One of those presentations, and I sat there and I watched all these people. Their eyes were like, "Holy cow, this happened because of Twitter!" And everybody was so impressed with you, Brandon.
Well, I appreciate it. And if I could tell a real quick story about that, Dick Van Dyke was on an award show, and like at 90 or 105 years old, he was still doing Step in Time. And I was like, I have to do a Step in Time video. And that was really one of the first videos I made for YouTube. I made it. I like made this cool chalk backdrop on my wall. And then all of a sudden, like, I made this dance. It was like 4 or 5 minutes long. I put it up on Twitter. People were like, oh, this is fantastic. This is great. I did it with my students, and it bombed. Like, it was too fast. It was too long. It was too aerobic for too long. There weren't enough breaks. And that really taught me that, Twitter is a fantastic place to generate ideas, but the true test, right, is going to your students and really listening to them. And I adapted that dance a lot, and they've taught me a lot as well. So it's just, that was a really fascinating learning process for me of, to learn from Twitter, but also really bring in your students, because that's why we're doing it,
Right.
Right on. So, when I first found out that we're going to interview you, because Jason had said all this stuff, I was so excited because I always think of you as that, the guy from Dancers, and Dan Sirs.
Yeah.
So I want you to tell me about the group. I want you to tell me how it got started, how often you meet, and what are the chances some tattooed guy with a beard from Iowa gets to dance with you sometime? Like, I want to know. Tell me.
Yeah. So Scott Williams started the Dancers, and I think the project for him was he went to like a dance session with, it was like a basketball coach or a football coach or something like that. And the guy said in the beginning, he's like, listen, I'm not very comfortable with dance, but I do it because I know my students need it. And that really inspired Scott. So Scott in Virginia started the Dancers across Virginia. Then when Scott got involved in Open, and then we connected with Ben Perillo and Chris Walker and Alex O'Brien, and now Matt Bristol and Matt Putney from these other guys. So we started the Dancers across the U.S. And I don't think I'm dropping the news here, but it is exciting to mention that there's going to be a Dancers group starting. And there's also going to be a Dancers across the world. And we are starting to look and recruit for statewide dancers. So if you are ready to get your groove thing on, then there's a spot for you. And that's the great thing. Part of it is that, historically in class, dance was probably more focused towards, non-competitive or maybe the girls' class, and sometimes the boys in class would shy away. And that's certainly not, the rule in every class. But I think he started just to show, what, boys, you can dance. Girls, you can dance. Everyone can dance, no matter shape or size or height or ability level. As long as you can feel the music and you have a heartbeat, you can dance.
Absolutely.
Write that down.
If you got a heartbeat, you got rhythm. That's it.
There you go. Fantastic. So, Tanner and I have discussed this a couple times, and we were kind of wondering if you could weigh in on this. If we were not physical education teachers, we had not chosen that field, what would we do for a profession? And we've talked about it, like, I don't know, I'm kind of interested in this, I'm kind of interested in this would be fun to do. But so your question, this is more of kind of a fun one. If Tanner was not a physical education teacher, what would he be?
If Tanner wasn't he would of course be a professional podcast host.
Oh.
I mean, not to say he has the face for radio, but he certainly has the voice and the personality. I think he's got a face for television for sure.
Okay.
All right. I
So
like
that makes
that.
me a little nervous for mine now. What would I be if I was not a physical education teacher?
I think you would be a professional beard connoisseur, and what I mean by that is there's a book in New York City of like the beards of New York City, and it's well curated. So I think you would probably fly out to New York City once or twice a year, and you would search for the most luscious. Verbose is not the right word, but you would find the most luscious beards and capture them, and then share them to the world, perhaps.
Okay, well, I was kind of hoping you'd say a beard model, but sure, I'll take pictures of yeah.
Well, I mean, you set the bar so high, that
Nobody can.
You would be the cover, and Tanner would certainly be one of the main features as well.
I'd be on like page 18.
Man, that's a tough question, and that's a really incredible thing too. Is I follow you guys on social media, and I love seeing what you post, but the cool thing about this and the cool thing about conferences is that we get to meet each other, and I don't know, Jason, I feel like maybe you'd be a baseball player, a football player, because we were talking earlier about that. And Tanner was talking about, putting new rugs in his basement. So I thought maybe an interior designer, but, I look forward to getting to know, you guys and so many other people on Twitter at conferences and things. It hasn't happened yet at conferences, but I look forward to it.
I hope so.
Yeah.
Right on. Well, hey, we've got something fun for you, so you might have to stretch out here. Jason's going to be our DJ, and I'm going to find out how great of a dancer you actually are. We're going to put music to some popular dances that you probably know, and we're going to see if you can dance to them. All right. So first one we're going to try is the Macarena. So
all right.
We may have to back up a little bit.
Let me get ready for this.
I do like your bike and your treadmill back there.
Oh, yeah, thanks. All right, it's going to get real low for a second here.
All right. And if you need me to shout at the computer, I probably won't do that. But you can turn your volume up, maybe.
All right. Here.
First one we're going to ask you to dance to is going to be the Macarena, one of my favorites.
I'm ready.
Are you ready? Okay, here we go. I think he's got that one down.
All right, he nailed that. That was great. That was big in high school for me, but I'm way older than you, aren't I? All right, so, how about Watch Me, the Whip and Nene dance? You got that one?
Yeah, something tells me he was practicing these before.
All right. How about a Gangnam Style? Am I saying that right? Gangnam Style?
I have no idea.
I don't know that dance, but you know what? I would definitely try it if it popped on. So let's hear it, DJ.
Open Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style. Open Gangnam Style. Gangnam Style.
Okay, I'm sorry. That's all I can handle, that one, because I've heard it way too many times over the years.
All right. You've probably been to a couple of weddings where the chicken dance popped on. Let's see your wedding chicken dance. All right.
So far, so good.
So far, so good. How about two more? Let's try the twist. Ooh, got that leg in there.
Get it, Tanner.
Oh, so far so good. I like
All right,
it.
and we'll do one more, and then we'll let you sit down.
This
How
one's
about
my favorite.
this one we're looking forward to? How about some Beyonce, Single Ladies?
Get it,
Got it?
baby.
I love it.
Fantastic
You
job.
were a good sport. Thank you very much, Brandon.
Such
That
a
was
good
a lot of
sport,
fun.
that
That was
one.
great. Thank you.
The only thing that could make that better, honestly, is if we do make it to Tampa and Judy, who was on our show before, calls us up on stage and we do it in front of 5,000 people.
That would be
That would be
That would
awesome.
be incredible.
that would be incredible. You're right.
Okay, so now we all know that you're a great dancer. We all know that you're an open national trainer. But you also have been or are the section president of the New York AFERD.
Yeah.
What's that been like for you and your career? Has that opened up more doors? Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, well, I mean, it's a public service, all AFERDs and shape organizations. And I mean, this is my plug. I would totally recommend anyone who's thinking about getting involved and serving on their local or their state organization to be there. I was actually able to be the coaches section president and now I'm the dance section president. I've got to sit in the executive council a few times as a proxy, and I would recommend the experience because you learn so much more about the advocacy piece that goes into it. You get to talk to a lot of the state administrators that are in charge of making the law for physical education and the codes, and you get to see where the leaders in your profession are, what they're doing and where they're going. So I've been able, the biggest thing being involved in New York State AFERD and especially as dance section president is that I've met some really incredible people that I could call up on the phone right now and be like, hey, I'm looking for this dance. Like Leslie Peters, if I called her right now and I said, Leslie, send me a video of the bachata because Jason and Tanner need it. Like she would get in her living room and dance it right now. And really quick, funny story about that is I ran for dance section president once and lost because I thought I was running unopposed. So I wrote a bio and I said, I love to dance. I do Zumba. I helped write the module for Open. And then all of a sudden out of nowhere comes this woman, Cindy Parisi. And her bio goes like this. I'm Cindy Parisi. I've recreated my life through dance. I've been in this Broadway show and I do this dance curriculum. I do this. And I was like, and she thought she was running opposed too. So I saw her at the conference and I had like kind of Facebook stalked her a little bit and I pointed through the hallway and I go, Cindy Parisi. And she goes, and I go, you won, congratulations. And we've become, great friends. So even if you run and you lose, you still get to meet really incredible people that are going to help build you up professionally and make you a better person too. So.
Absolutely. And I'm glad you plugged the state associations a little bit because honestly, until like a year and a half ago, I had absolutely nothing to do with my state association, and it has completely changed my life, my career. It's changed my classroom. It's, just like you said, I've had the ability now to meet and talk personally with fantastic physical education people and not just physical education people, but just education people in general. So such a huge thing in our world. And like you said, I hope people, if they're kind of on the fence about it, jump right in, man. Jump right in. So
that's kind of where I'm at. I'm just applied for leadership council here for Iowa, and I don't know how long it takes before they vote on that, but I've always been wanting to do it, didn't know when to do it, and felt like the right time. So
you got my vote, Tanner.
Yeah,
right.
If I'm voting, you got at least half a vote from me.
You think those count?
Well, I'll give you a shout out on Twitter.
I think you have to pay your AFERD dues and then you can vote.
For you, it'd be worth it.
Absolutely. So now we've all been here. We've all had to be gone for one reason or another from school, and we set up sub plans and we put some effort into that, and sometimes they're followed, sometimes they're not. If Tanner and I were going to sub in your classroom, which one of us is going to follow them to the T, and which one of us is going to do whatever they want?
Oh man, this seems like a setup.
You're on the spot. And just to be honest, to be clear, I have not won one of these battles. I've always been on the losing end of these. And I'm sure if he hasn't been in your ear, he will be afterwards.
I feel like the answer usually is that Tanner's going to follow him to the T and Jason's going to go off. But you know what? I think Tanner is, I've been reading some of the literature and I've been seeing how he's been editing some of Captain Pete's articles. So I think he's kind of branching out. So I think if he was subbing in my school, he might look at the lesson plans and go, I got this. Because at the end of every sub plan, if I know the sub, I'll say, hey, if you feel like you have a great lesson, go for it. So I think Jason is going to look at the lessons and go, I really want to go through this and really follow it. And Tanner's going to go, I got this, Brandon. And he's going to text me later and be like, had an awesome lesson. Let me teach you this game I played.
Okay, so for the first time, I think I have to disagree. Because I think Tanner's going to go in and he's going to go, oh, man, I got it. It's just
I'm a rule follower, by the way.
I'm a rule follower. I'm an instigator, right? He is going to follow them to a T, and I'm going to come in and go, nope. That's what we're doing.
No. Jason's an idea guy.
I mean, either way, I'd rather you guys be there and we team teach. How about that?
That would be fun. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Hey, before we leave this season, we always like to try to ask some type of a question where you get to tell us the funniest thing that's ever happened in your teaching career. Everybody's got that one story that they're thinking about, at your party or something. Hey, this girl did this, or this guy did this, or, the sports grader did this thing. What's that funny thing that you want to tell us about that's happened? Maybe you saw it, maybe it happened to you, maybe it happened to somebody in your room. What's your funny story?
Man, that's so great. I have a whole bunch of fart stories. One in that, like, this girl was walking through the hall, like, on her way to PE, a kindergartner, like, the first or second day of school, and she farted and, like, was like, excuse me. And then one was, I'm not going to lie, I can't believe I'm telling this story, but I definitely passed some gas in my class, especially with some of the younger grades.
We just got so many more followers.
And I gotta tell you, so I'm in teaching in Brooklyn. It's like my first or second year of teaching, and like I would teach like 4 classes, lunch, 4 classes. It was a long day. And I think it was like a first or second grade class, and like I just let one go. And I was like, I think the students were in line, and I was giving instruction, and one kid, like, he was sitting there listening, and he just goes, Mr. Herwick, really? Totally blew up my spot. And I tried to play it off like, nah, man, you guys just came out of lunch. Like, maybe, like, I tried to put it on, but he was not having it. He would not let it go. So, yeah.
Get real.
Mm-hmm.
That's awesome. Hey, we've kind of reached the point now where, listen, we were teetering on edgy. Now we've gone over the line. I think it's going to be good for viewership. I appreciate it. We're going to get so many more followers now. They're like, now I want to watch this show. We just went from TBS to MTV, like, boom, right?
I can't believe that's the story I told, but you're welcome. Yeah, and thank you.
So this is the part of the show where we play some cheesy exit music.
Love it.
And you kind of tell us how we can get a hold of you. How can we follow you? If someone wants to connect with you, let us know, and then we'll exit with some cheesy music.
All right, great. Am I going to hear this cheesy music, or should I make it up?
For sure.
Oh, okay.
No,
okay.
You go right ahead. I'll play it afterwards.
Oh, okay. So you can reach me, of course, my name is Brandon Herwick. You can reach me on Twitter at Brooklyn Dreamer, because I used to work at Brooklyn Dreams Charter School, so at Brooklyn Dreamer. Feel free to email me at brandon.herwick@gmail.com. And then on YouTube, just search in the bar Brandon Herwick, and a whole bunch of videos will turn up. I just want to thank you guys again for having me on. And hopefully I love this format, and I hope there's a lot of impromptu conversations like this about our field, because we're the luckiest to teach in this field. I'm lucky to have friends like you across the country and across the world. And man, it feels good to be a physical educator.
Very well. Very well.
We're lucky to have you too, Brandon.
Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, with that said, we've come to an end of another episode of Let's Talk Phys Ed. That's all we have for you today. Thank you for joining us. Make sure you tune in next week where we've got another fantastic guest joining us. Brandon, thank you so much.
Thank you, guys.
Awesome. See you next time, everybody.